I met Henri Dutilleux in 2002 at Radio France. I was having an interview and we were both in the waiting room together. And I knew who he was, and I love new music. I've always loved new music. And so I said to him, I would be very honored if someday you would consider collaborating with me, writing a piece for me. And he was incredibly charming then as ever. And I was possibly even flattered, although I'm not even sure if he knew who I was. And years later, I forgot about it. Years later, I got a call out of the blue that Seiji Ozawa and Henri Dutilleux wanted to collaborate on a new work, on a premiere. And that was Le Temps, l'horloge. He sent me a few pieces he had already written. Unfortunately, Henri Dutilleux did not write that much vocal music. We wish he had written more. It would have been fantastic to have a larger repertoire to choose from. But the sonnet of Jean Cassou I eventually did learn and sing. They're so beautiful. And the San Francisco I have not performed. But you know, there are a couple of other pieces as well, but I didn't have a chance to really put them in my repertoire. And frankly, it was worth waiting for the premiere, which was such an exciting project. But what I did is I sent him many CDs of my voice so he could hear the range, the tessitura, all of the issues, the colors that he liked, and also different styles. And he surprised me because when we started working on Le Temps, l'horloge, he said, I really like your voice in jazz. So The Haunted Heart was a CD that I had made, and he said, I like that sound, so I'm going to write in that part of your range, which he did. For me, his vocal writing is perfect. It's like a glove. It's a perfect fit. It's when the language is important, it sits in the part of the voice that makes that very clear. When he wants to be more expressive, then it's higher. He put a lot of cadenzas, I would say, this is the right word, you know, not just for me, but for the clarinet, for other instruments as well. And they're real, absolutely full-blown, chromatic, and very quick, challenging cadenzas. So he really saw the voice as another colorful instrument. And he created, I think, in all of his work, a palette. His orchestration is completely unique, utterly fascinating. I mean, to begin the third song with accordion is something one never hears in an orchestral piece in classical music. So he was very interested in color. I can't say that I have a favorite movement in Le Temps, l'horloge. They're all so different, which is what makes it so interesting, I think. You know, despite the fact that it's his music, every single one of the 5 movements is quite different. And the thematic material is there. He inverts it very often. Sometimes I'll sing a run that goes up, and sometimes the same pitches will descend. He was incredibly fastidious about the work. One of the things that interested me about conversations with him was his choice of poetry. You know, he knew some of the poets. He shared stories with them in terms of their activities in the resistance in World War II. I met some of the family members after the premiere, which was thrilling as well. But the Baudelaire was interesting. He found it incredibly intimidating to try and set this very famous poem. And that was the thing he spoke about quite a bit. And he captured the exuberance of that poem. He captured the joy of it so well. I spoke with him a lot about how sad I was that there was not an opera, and and at the very least he should write me some more songs. Because he was still composing at the end of his life, but I think because his work and the way he worked was so, he was such a perfectionist, and it was such a painstaking process. You know, when we premiered the piece, he wasn't finished. So it took him a long time to compose, which is why his body of work is not that enormous. And the result is fantastic. So I think an opera for him would have been a major undertaking. After the premiere of Le Temps, l'horloge, he would come to the various concerts and really soak up the love from the audience and enjoy that. And it was wonderful to see. So one of the interesting things about Henri is the way he was able to cultivate personal relationships with the people who performed his music. Seiji loved him and had worked with him quite a bit. And I found him so incredibly charming and delightful. You know, I would have reading sessions with him as we were preparing the piece, and I would call him on the phone and ask for certain things. And every time I came to Paris, I would go and see him and visit him. And he had that, he made you feel that you were giving him something. You know, he was so grateful and humble and generous in that respect. When, of course, you know, we all knew it was the opposite. He was giving us this great creative gift. So I miss him tremendously. He had a tremendous influence on my point of view about music and about what a creative life can be. He would have kept going forever. He didn't want to stop.